So apparently, the people that have seen my Miyuki Mile and or listened to it on 9/11 Conspiracy Theories all agree with me. Well, that's no fun! So today on the Miyuki Mile, I'm going to be taking on the NFL Lockout. How's it? I'm your host, Miyuki Takara, and of course this is the Miyuki Mile. Now, before I really get started on anything NFL Lockout, I do want to give a couple of shout-outs. Now, for those of you that are new, I normally give shout-outs when I get them, but because I was out for so long, this is actually the first Miyuki Mile that's been recorded after I got the internet access. I do want to give a couple of shout-outs. When I started as a Let's Player, I knew that I was going to do this compliments of Jason Kosminski, the announcer to the Denver Nuggets radio broadcast. Follow him on Facebook during a basketball game, and he will give you an on-air shout-out. So I decided I'd bring that to what I'm doing. Now, normally I'd give these shout-outs as I get them, but now that I have a place to put them, I'm actually going to start using the Miyuki Mile as my form of shout-outs. So today's shout-outs, first off, I'd like to welcome Rubai. I know I probably butchered that name, but Rubai, welcome to the Miyuki Boat. Gugaluga Gaming. Again, I probably completely butchered that name, but again, Gugaluga Gaming, welcome to the Miyuki Boat. Chris Stupas 252, Pokemon fan. Welcome to the Miyuki Boat. The Pikachu 2001, obviously a Pokemon fan, and possibly more specifically, Pikachu. Hakujindesu, vlogger, by the way, pretty good. He travels between his home in the Bay Area of California and Japan quite frequently. Obviously very accustomed to Japanese customs. Baby Pixie. Welcome to the Miyuki Boat. Also, the Cheetah 21. Now, I do want to promote the Cheetah 21 a little bit, simply because she, at one point in time, was a personal friend of mine. I dated her for a while. We kept up with a civil relationship afterwards, and even repairing the friendship that was lost after we split in 2007. The Cheetah 21 actually did play a major role in me coming and becoming a Let's Player. Not so much her opinion, but one video in particular. You see, in 2009, for those of you that don't know, I dressed up as the anime character Miyuki Takara from Lucky Star as part of a little promise to a friend of mine. I'll actually revisit that story at a later time, but shortly afterwards, the Cheetah 21 and CD Fisk both were at that point in time friends of mine. I did keep up with my friendship with CD Fisk, however, the Cheetah 21 did end up moving away, I do believe, to Colorado Springs, and I haven't talked to her in quite a while. Well, in 2009, the Cheetah 21 and CD Fisk wanted to see my Miyuki Takara outfit, so we ended up going to Cook Park in Denver, and she ended up shooting that video. The video is called A Man Named Miyuki Takara. Guess where I got my YouTube username? Now, at the very end, I do end up butchering the Moteki Seirufuku chorus. I do want to apologize that my Japanese wasn't as ungood as it is now. And I say that gingerly because, though I can actually sing the part of the Moteki Seirufuku that I really wanted to at that particular point in time, in 2009, I can, other than that, I can barely say hello in Japanese, so I'm not going to say my Japanese is really all that good. It's just not as ungood as it was in 2009. So if you want to see what I look like in my Miyuki Takara outfit, go ahead and watch that video. Again, it's the Cheetah 21. The video name is A Man Named Miyuki Takara. That's actually probably going to be the only on-camera appearance I ever make. That's actually by design. So again, welcome Cheetah 21. It's nice to hear from you again, by the way. Contact me sometime. Let's reconnect. So, today I'd like to talk about, as previously mentioned, the NFL lockout. Now, the NFL lockout is actually a really bitter lockout that's going on here in America. Basically, the whole history behind it, 2 years ago, the NFL owners voted to voted to void the current NFL contract, which has been around, by the way, since I do believe 1989. It was either 89 or 91 that this contract came around. I do believe since the last work stoppage of the NFL, and it's been extended about 5 times ever since. However, in 2008, by a majority vote, I don't think it was unanimous. I think it did take a majority vote. But the NFL owners voted to void this contract after the 2010-2011 NFL season. Needless to say, it is now completely voided. So, over the last 2 years, the NFL and NFL Players Association Union have been negotiating for a new contract. The main topics of interest are $9 billion of revenue. How to split that up. The owners want more of it. The players want more of it. Now, just so you know, by the way, what's going to be coming up on the next Miyuki Mile, I want to mention flat out, I am a diehard Buffalo Bills fan. I want to see football. I want to see my Buffalo Bills play again. You know, just throwing that out there. So, the first major part of interest is $9 billion of revenue. How would it go around? The owners want more, the players want more, and this has been a big point of contention between the two sides. Another point of interest, though this one hasn't been as overstated in recent weeks as the $9 billion of revenue, the NFL season, whether it's going to be 16 games or 18 games, is unknown as of yet. But according to ESPN, the NFLPA is more open to an 18-game season in later years. Right now, they do want to stick with a 16-game season, which seems like a complete fucking hypocrisy. I'll get in on that in the next Miyuki Mile. But after the contract expired on, I do believe it was March 16th of this year, it was extended a couple of times because supposedly progress was made. On March 21st, again, you're gonna have to look that. I'm gonna look that one up and cite my sources. I do believe I'm wrong on these dates. So I will cite my sources in the video description box, but I think it was March 21st that the extension expired, and the NFLPA ended up dissolving. There's actually a pretty big problem in that one. I'll get in on that in just a little bit. And this opened up. This allowed the players to open up a can of litigious whoop-ass on the NFL owners. The current antitrust litigation is known as Brady v. NFL. And it's still ongoing. They recently had a hearing on that. Friday, June 3rd was the most recent hearing. And the over the course of this since then, there have actually been a couple of rulings on this lockout, not the least of which being the initial ruling by Judge Susan Richards, who ruled that this lockout was illegal because supposedly the NFL players had proven that they would suffer severe damages due to this lockout. I'll touch on that. I'll touch in on that the next mile we run, because this isn't the end of the NFL lockout, not by a long shot. You see, shortly afterwards, there was actually an appeal to the 8th District Court in St. Louis, who ruled that Judge Suzanne Richards' ruling was, well, let me put it to you this way: they overruled their ruling, and they overruled Richards' ruling, so the lockout was back on, and they upheld that ruling shortly afterwards. And get this, news actually came down during the NFL draft. Yeah, what a time for news to come down on that. So, since then, there has actually been mediation required. That was actually part of the initial ruling. Mediation was required. However, they didn't get anywhere because they only met once a month. Well, over the past couple of days, they have been meeting supposedly in secret. Now that not that now everybody knows about it, in Chicago. And supposedly there has been progress made. Now, I'm not actually going to be giving them a whole lot of credit because they've said that about half a dozen times before, and look where it's got us. The relationship between the NFL and NFLPA is contentious at best. So, you decide how much stock to put into that. So that's the basic general history of the NFL lockout as it stands right now. Coming up next on the Miyuki Mile, we're going to be discussing what this means and my opinion on this. And let me put it to you this way: despite the fact that that I do want to see football next year, my opinion on this might actually drive a few football fans up the fucking wall. I'll get in on that next time on the Miyuki Mile. Coming up next, we are going to be listening to Gotcha Cute by Figumate, the opening theme song to the anime of the same name, Figumate. That's what's coming up next. You're listening to the Miyuki Mile.